Two bears, two beds, and crazy people. Here with my old pal Bud Brown. We're here at our secret location, and we're going to have a conversation about I don't know what. He's also videoing the exact same video.
My cameras are up and running.
No, because we're lazy, we decided we'd knock out a 2-for-1. So what's the topic, Bud? What's going on?
Well, what's going on?
We did a lot better before the camera.
I know, we were chatting, we couldn't stop. Now that the camera's on.
Now this thing's running.
Well.
So I get a lot of flack about you going to Mexico.
Right.
So I got all kinds of danger warnings.
Oh, man.
If you go down there, you're in big trouble.
Right.
And any feedback on that? I mean, is there any validity to that?
Well,
is it dangerous?
I have several things to say about that.
Okay.
I get a lot of it. I'm getting receiving videos about, you know, the horrible things that I'm going to encounter. It kind of reminds me, my mom, when I was a kid, my mom was a kindergarten, first grade teacher, and she would always tell us these Aesop's fables, you know, little animals that, you know, there's a moral to the story.
Right.
Well, there's a fella named Briar Rabbit.
Oh, I love Briar Rabbit.
Yep. And this, what was it? It was a wolf or a fox, or I think it might have been a fox, but they was always chasing him. Finally, the fox captured the rabbit, and the rabbit says, "Oh, please, Mr. Fox, please do not throw me in that briar patch," because, you know, briar, you know.
Right.
And he said, "Whatever you do, do not throw me anything, but not in the briar patch." And then so the fox, "All right, I'll fix you," throws him in. And then the rabbit gets in there. He says, "Ha ha, I was born and raised in this briar patch." So I say that because, number one, I've lived in Mexico before.
Right.
And and being from California, I worked with Mexicans. They're good people. And I don't want to get into the controversial immigration thing, but when I went to, right after I retired, I thought that I would, you know, spend the rest of my years in Mexico because when I was in high school, I spent a summer there with the Mexican family. That's where the Spanish started for me. And so I feel comfortable in Mexico, the culture, the people, the language.
Okay.
But I also realize that I'm not 17 anymore, and I'm not 55 anymore, you know?
Yeah.
And time has been by. It's maybe been, probably 12, 13 years since I've been there.
Mm-hmm.
So there's two main things. The main reason that and I was going to do this, and I probably still will on a little video, my next video, because I'm getting a lot of questions about that. People can live their life running away from something or running towards something. Agreed. I'm not running away from the Philippines. Right. I'm running toward my children and a new chapter of my life. That's what I'm going toward.
Right.
I love the Philippines. I love the people. I enjoy it here. You know, I love to shuck and jive with them and have fun. But that's a chapter. I don't even know how long we've been here, between 10 and 12 years, something like that. But it's time to move on. It just is. And I know that that's not for everybody, you know?
So I guess the big argument that I heard was that Mexico has changed a lot since then.
Yeah.
That there's a lot more violence, there's a lot more cartels, it's a lot more expensive. At Tijuana, you pay so much for this, so much for that, and blah, 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 blah. And so, while that may or may not be true, I just ran it through my head without ever speaking to you about it until now. And I thought, well, you know what? If old Rod Brown goes down there and taps around and finds that is the case, you'll just adapt and adjust and do something different.
Right, exactly.
Plan B, I guess is my question. Let's just worst case scenario. You go down there and you find out that it ain't the Mexico it was 12 years ago. And no, it's dangerous, and no, it's expensive, and it's out of your budget.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not being a negative Nancy.
Yeah.
Just kind of hypothetical.
Right.
So you go there. What would be your course of action? What would you do?
Well, one little hint would be I still have my permanent residence here in the Philippines.
That's what
Now I know, is there anybody here in this room that has not seen my permanent resident card? Because I've got it right here. You know.
Oh, Lord help me. Sweet baby Jesus.
Look, there's my picture. There's
card. Good Lord.
So there is a reason that I got that permanent resident card, you know.
So Philippines, you could bounce back into the Philippines.
I could.
Would you ever think about relocating somewhere in North America?
No, I've never really thought about it. But you know, that's the thing. I wasn't even open to leaving the Philippines. But my daughter, you know, I think I've told you that story.
Yeah.
She misses us so much. And a friend of hers, mom passed away younger than me.
Yeah.
And you know, that's not funny in a sense, but the idea is that, you know, we don't know our last day.
No.
And we really, really do miss our children. We just have a boy and a girl, and we've always been a close-knit family. And it's just, we miss them, and we call them on Skype or Messenger at least 2 or 3 times a week. And you know, and we want to hug them, you know.
Okay.
So that's
the plan is you're going to spend about a month, I think, with your kids.
about a month with it, yeah.
Then you're going to tap into Mexico.
Yep.
And hopefully everything will just be status quo.
Yeah, and you know, the videos that I watch. It's kind of like there's articles against coffee and there's articles for coffee.
Yeah.
I read the articles for coffee. You know, and there's the videos against Mexico and there's videos for Mexico. You know, so that's I'm communicating with the YouTubers that live in Mexico.
Are you? Yeah.
And now there's one fella, and of course this was sent to me, about 8 reasons why I regret moving to Mexico.
Perfect.
First of all, he was a young, maybe 30, 35 man with a daughter, single dad.
Yeah.
That's not my case
Nope.
at all.
No.
He was complaining, even he was in a little village, always having brownouts. Can you imagine always having a brownout periodically? No electricity?
Yeah.
And the bureaucracy, he can't get anything. It takes so long, Paul.
So it's the Philippines.
Nothing there was different than here.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So, you know, let's take things in perspective.
Okay.
And also, knowing myself, I'm going to have a good time no matter where I go.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully that answers that question. Do you have a part of Mexico that you're thinking about?
Yeah. Of course, you know, the main factors are our children. Somebody told me, don't say children because it sounds like they're little, but hey, come on, you know, even they're 40 years old. They're my kids and children. So anyway, being not too far from them. So we're considering Baja California.
Okay.
There's this one place where there's some expats and they really love it. It's called La Paz.
Okay.
It's not the very tip, but it's about 3/4 down. Easy access to the States. And my daughter, as we speak, is checking out transport. She has friends that live there.
Okay.
And not at La Paz, but in Baja.
Yeah.
And she's going to go visit them and find out what's the routine and how easy or difficult it is to go back and forth.
Okay.
But I know there's thousands of people that work in the States and they live in Mexico. So they have this like a, you know, almost like these toll booths where you have your express lane, you know.
Yeah.
So
because from what I understand, with all these electric cars that are being built recently and all this legislation that's been passed, I just sort of superficially listened to it. What I understand, a lot of those cars with the batteries or something are going to actually be produced in Mexico.
Okay.
So there'll be a lot of Americans over there.
Yeah.
I assume.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't pretend to know. But I think you'll be just fine. I think that if you apply the rules that you apply to any city, You live in Chicago, Los Angeles, Getty, La Paz, Argentina. If you don't go out at night down some strange alley with a bunch of flashy jewelry on, and you don't set yourself up, you become friendly with the locals. You form an inner circle of friends, of other foreigners or other locals.
Right.
You get to know them on a first name basis.
There you
they
go.
Get to know you. People have a tendency to have each other's back.
That's true.
If they like you.
Very true, Paul.
And I really believe, and I wish you success over there.
Yeah.
And I think you'll be just hunky-dory. And the fact that you do have a fallback with your kids if something did happen, you have an opportunity to spend some time with them, which is priceless. You can't put a number on that.
Right.
And then, of course, you can only plug right back out here and into my welcoming arms.
That's what I look forward to.
What else is on your agenda? What's new on your channel? What have you been up to doing?
Well, the Blue Boy.
Blue Boy. Bud's a Blue Boy.
Yeah.
Bud Brown in the Philippines, by the way. I'll just put a link to his channel if you haven't seen it. I'm sure most of you have.
Yeah.
Bring you up to speed on his transportation.
Yeah. Well,
explain to the folks what a Blue Boy is, if you don't mind.
The Blue Boy is our vehicle that we have right now. We've had, I think this is the third or fourth vehicle, and curiously, they've all been three-wheelers. I never really thought about that till just now. We've never had what they call motor, scooter, and I hesitate to call it a motorcycle. Anybody that's ridden motorcycles, scooter.
It's a scooter.
Yeah. So with Gloria, of course, she's older, and so I have to take her into consideration. And if it was up to me, I'd rather scooter around, but So we started off with an electric one, and then I had problems because it had electric vehicles, especially 10 years ago. The power and the batteries are very expensive, blah blah blah. But anyway, then we moved to a Chariot, which is like a farm, like a tractor, basically.
Yeah. I remember that thing.
And I tell you, my one regret, I liked the Chariot. It always started, never had any mechanical problems with it, but it was a cargo model.
I rode in the back of that thing.
Yeah, and
I did a washing machine.
Yeah.
It was brutal.
Yeah. And Gloria had and oh man, I got the grief from my subscribers. What's the matter with you? She had a little plastic stool, But
his wife sitting on the bucket.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. But I should have gotten the passenger model.
Yeah.
It's got benches. It's made for it. It's got you don't have to hike your leg over the tailgate. It's got a little space there. Walk in, sit down, and it's made for it. That's what I should have gotten. But it was just a little bit more expensive. So, So we sold that, and for Gloria's sake, I got this tuk-tuk. And it was easy for her to get in and out. So
perfect.
I have to keep my subscribers happy.
Yes. Yes.
And here's the thing, I'm just going to go off to the side just a little bit. When you've been married as long as I have, your wife becomes a part of you and you become a part of her. You become like a one person.
Yeah.
And when she's happy, I'm happy.
Right.
And when she's not happy, I'm not happy.
Right.
So I did a little video. Oh, she was tickled. I don't even remember what it was, but we did something. My title was Happy Wife, Happy Life. Oh, Paul, I got some pushback. What's the matter? You're a feminist. That's their motto and this and that. Oh my gosh. They were upset because I was happy because my wife was happy. I don't get it. So, heaven forbid I upset.
Get along with your wife. And enjoy her company.
Yeah.
That's not supposed to happen.
Wow, isn't that something? Well, so she's happy sitting in the back and I'm driving. But as you know, it's been a lemon. Now I've got to be more specific. A tuk-tuk is kind of a general term for three-wheeled vehicle that's a certain style. There's two main ones here in Dumaguete. 90 5% of the ones are called Bajaj, and they're from the MCOR company,
Right.
and they have a dealership right here in Dumaguete. Everybody that I've talked to that's owned one of those, they're very happy with it.
Yeah.
Very happy. But because of the gear shift, I wasn't used to it. I'm used to the scooter gear shift, which is what mine. The company is Rusco, and the model is Caruso.
Okay.
That's specifically what it is. Well, so many things that go wrong, go loose, and this and that. Everything's so-called easy fix, which it was. But I said, man, I made a mistake here. So we were going to sell it, especially now that we know we're moving next year. And I'll just interject too that why am I making this announcement so far in advance? Because as you know, if I were to just leave within a few days, oh, did you hear about Bud Brown? He got kicked out. He got blacklisted. Oh, they had to run him out. Like some people we know, that.
The authorities are always after us.
Yeah. Oh man, he made it out the back door just in time. So now when people say, oh, I heard you're moving to Mexico. I say, yeah, next year. Oh, next year? Oh, I thought you were just, no, next year. So it'll probably be about September, just about exactly a year. So the Caruso, I want to sell it, but I wanted to get it paid off. And I think we talked about this at one
Last
time.
we got together.
So I got one more double payment and then no balance.
Okay.
And then I'll be selling it then.
And then you'll be selling it.
Yeah.
And Bud's going to make full disclosure to whoever buys it of all the issues that he's had with it.
Oh, yeah.
And he's selling it for about half of what he paid for it.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
Fair warning. I honestly think that it's probably a decent vehicle by this time because I got the feeling that whatever's going to go wrong went wrong. I mean, you had knucklehead stuff go on.
Exactly.
Wire came off and a fuse blew out.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it can be super frustrating.
Yeah.
When you're just getting ready to go and it won't go. And even though the fix is simple,
right?
If you're not a mechanic, you don't know
right.
what the fix is.
Yeah.
So now you can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
And you're always,
Well, my brakes, my front brake were, and then they adjusted it. It's just a matter of adjusting the brake.
Yeah.
And then, what was it? The speedometer cable.
Right.
It stopped working. Of course, Filipinos, hey, so what,
Right.
But I said, because I felt guilty because, the kilometers were adding up and it wasn't showing. And I feel bad about it. So it just, whatever added up for a week, I'll tell hey, the speedometer wasn't working for a week. So, but when Tano, I had him go down and buy another speedometer cable, just minimal cost. He was going to put it on, and he said, it's not broken. Not broken. No, it just came loose. The speedometer cable came loose at the front brake area.
You didn't need a new one.
Didn't need it. So anybody wants to buy a speedometer cable, cheap. But I drive it every day, starts right up.
And you were so pissed off at one point that you were going to just unload it and take public transportation.
Right.
I remember you were up to here with
one
thing after another. And they discontinued making those.
They did.
So the MCOR, I guess, as a public service announcement, would be the way to go. For those of you looking for one of the three-wheeler deals.
Right. That's right.
That's what you would recommend.
Everybody that's owned one has positive things to say. Now, maybe there's you have a subscriber or someone who's watching this video. Mm-hmm. They've had problems with it. That'd be nice to hear.
That'd be good to hear. Yeah, you have problems with your MCOR. Give us that feedback.
Yeah.
Because knowledge is power, and it's to make the proper decision is to have as much information as possible. Yeah. So research.
Yeah, that's right.
When it comes to vehicles, man, some of them, you know what? I used to be in the car business. It seemed like out of 100 cars, one of them, nothing would go right.
Really?
It would be like your car.
Yeah.
And almost didn't matter what manufacturer it was. And then there were other cars that no matter what you did, it wouldn't go wrong. It was just that golden vehicle that was, blessed.
Yeah.
And no matter what happened, the he just kept on going.
Wow, I've never had one of those.
I don't know. Neither have I. I've heard of them.
Well, I've been blabbering along so much. How about you?
What about me?
I'd like to hear about your Thailand plans.
Oh, Thailand. Yeah. That goes off in 4 days.
4 days?
Right. That's Tuesday, really. So what's today?
Adventure flight?
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 3 days. We're
Oh
out
my.
of here. And we're gone for 22 days. The biggest concern, well, we went through this whole debacle of May getting a passport.
Right.
That was a 4-month ordeal. I've already talked about it, so people that watch my channel don't want to hear it again. But if you trust me,
I know I don't, but
bureaucracy,
go ahead.
it was a long ordeal.
Yeah.
And then we started getting information about May getting out of the country for the first.
Yep.
That Filipinos have a rough reputation for leaving and just not coming back.
Yep.
And I applaud the government because they're looking out for their citizens. They do not want some guy, especially an old guy with a young girl, taking her out of the country because it could be considered human trafficking.
Yeah.
So protect your citizens.
Right.
I went to a lawyer, and I'm really glad I did, because I was going to do this and I was going to do that, and all these other hoops that I needed to go through, according to my subscribers, who were just trying to help me.
Sure.
Saying, make sure you do this, Paul, and make sure you do that, blah, blah, blah. And the lawyer, to my surprise and delight, was legal counsel for the Department of Foreign Affairs here in Thailand.
Perfect.
Yeah, how much better can it get?
Really?
And he goes, yeah, Paul, I know what you're talking about. We've researched that. I called them. I sent them an email to clarify. You do not need this. It was a seminar thing that May was supposed to go through.
Oh.
That is for women traveling to go, say, as an OFW.
Okay.
Or they want to repatriate to another country, or they're going for work, or they're just going to go visit their father and lives in Indonesia. And so they want to make sure that the woman is aware of the dangers and whatnot.
OFW stands for Overseas Filipino Worker.
Right.
Because so many Filipinos work overseas.
Correct.
So anyway, go ahead.
Right. So for me to go out of the country, what we had to do was we had to establish, number one, our relationship. So we have done that. Boy, have we done that. The YouTube channel together for 3 years. She's got a bunch of photographs of us for the back 3 or 4 years we've been together. We have a lease agreement that shows we've lived in the same house.
Okay.
We've got a renewed lease agreement. We've got bank statements showing she's got a bank account here. We've got bank statements showing that we've got a joint bank account here. And then the lawyers wrote up this affidavit. And the main thing in the affidavit is he's not exactly guaranteeing us, but he's using all the verbiage that says that if May was to scoot, that she would not hold the Department of Immigration liable. She would not hold the Philippines liable. She would not do, if she created some sort of lascivious act in another country that the Philippines is not going to be sued, she's going to take all the brunt of it, or I will, et cetera, et cetera. She has a round trip ticket. It has the flight number. It has where she's going to land, what hotel she's going to go to. After that, we're going to another island, and it shows that we've got 20 days booked at that condominium, Airbnb.
Oh.
It shows that we have a return ticket, and so it shows that she's leaving and she's coming back.
Right.
She's got money in the bank. She's got a house to come back to. A subscriber made a brilliant suggestion during the live stream yesterday. He said, have her take the registration to her scooter, because it shows that she owns a scooter.
Very good.
There's another tangible item that she would be bailing out on if she was to leave. And my lawyer gave me some very interesting information. He said, number one, it's not against the law for a Filipino to go on vacation. She can go, as long as it makes sense that she's coming back.
Right.
And I think we've gotten overkill on that. We are going to go get medical insurance today, just for, number one, I think it's a good idea to have that while you're traveling. And number two, it reinforces the notion that we're being responsible while in somebody else's country.
Right, okay.
If she gets sick, If something happens to interrupt the trip, then she will not be, again, a burden to Thailand.
Right, that's
she
the
will be
main
able
thing.
to pay for
Yeah,
the medical treatment should she
yeah.
need it. And the same with me.
Yeah.
So it's like $50.
Yeah.
So we said, what the hell? We'll
And
get that.
Thailand is your briar patch. I mean, you're comfortable there, I assume.
Thailand is where I first went and
Yeah.
fell in love with Asia. I loved everything about it. I love the food. I didn't like the heat, but I love the
Didn't
food.
like the what?
The heat.
Oh, heat.
It's more humid there than it is here, bro.
Really?
Oh boy. This is never humid. This is hot. Over there it's hot and humid. So that'll be an adjustment. But there's a difference between Thailand and the Philippines. Where the Philippines wins hands down is the people.
Really?
It really, really is. Obviously I was in America. I was in Indonesia recently. I was in Vietnam not so long ago. Thailand I've been before. Philippines. Oh, those 5 places that I've been, I believe it's 5. The Philippines, hands down, people that are just friendly, approachable, mellow, non-confrontational. I never feel threatened here. Thailand, again, is a very benign type of place.
Yeah.
They're Buddhists, so they believe in, they're very on the level kind of thing. But I was never able to really have any kind of real connection, if you will, with the people over there.
Yeah.
I was good friends with some Thai people. I still am.
Yeah.
But I knew that there was a space between us for some reason. I don't know if it's culture. I don't know if it's language. I don't know. But my trip about Thailand is where it's going to be exciting for me is I'm going to be able to see it through May's eyes. And it's just going to floor her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Stuff she's never, ever seen before.
Don't you know they're going to be coming up to her and speaking Thai?
Absolutely. And I cannot wait to videotape it.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say, be sure.
This is going to be one comedy sketch after another as we go through Thailand. We're trying to
That's going to be good.
Everything. And so she's so excited. All she can talk about is elephants. She wants to go
elephants.
She wants to go see an elephant. She's never seen
maybe ride on one.
They have rides. I think that's up in Chiang Mai. But so we'll just play it by ear.
Yeah.
But I think she's going to be excited about the food. I think she's going to be excited about the culture. She's going to be floored by the cleanliness of it.
Do they use chopsticks or forks or what?
Yeah.
Oh, chopsticks.
And it's rice friendly. So she's excited about that. And one time May asked me about going to America. And she said, hey, do they serve rice in America? I said, nope.
Potatoes.
I said, just potatoes. And she had this look like,
Man.
how will I live?
Yeah, can't survive.
America. I don't know.
Rice is life, as they say. Yeah.
So that's exciting. We're gonna bug out of here. We're gonna try to make it. I came over here intentionally to travel, and COVID, of course, completely locked me down for a couple of years, like everybody. And so now it's time to get back on the horse. Yeah. And so I think every 6 months or so, her and I are just gonna bounce somewhere. And but what's fun is that once we get that one stamp in the passport, that's kind of like the golden ticket.
Right.
And we've got already all the stuff that took days to get, as you can imagine. The bank statements. It wasn't easy to walk into BDO. In fact, we found out we were in the wrong branch. We had to go back to the original branch. Why? I don't know. And anyway, went through all that hoo-ha. So we've got all that stuff for the next trip. We've got the letter for the next trip. We can go into the attorney next time. I think it would be prudent that if we go to, say, Singapore for a couple of days, have him write up the same letter. He's very inexpensive for what he does.
Yeah.
The wealth of information.
Yeah.
He really calmed me down.
I may have to get his name for you for general principles,
Absolutely. And it's interesting. I said, I'd like to promote you on my channel. And he was kind of hesitant about that. And I said, why are you hesitant? He says, well, it's actually illegal for lawyers to advertise. I thought, You're right. I've never seen a billboard. I've never seen
No.
anybody advertise on TV.
In trouble with the law, call attorney.
And his favorite show is Better Call Saul, which is a spinoff from Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, I've seen the whole thing. The first thing he told me was, shut up. I haven't watched all the episodes. Do not spoil it for me.
Good one. Good one.
Him and I got along like brothers. And that was cool. And I also got to ask him some other questions. You mentioned about the authorities and the black lesbian and all this, that.
Yeah.
He says it's remarkable. He says, I said, how does a foreigner get in trouble here in the Philippines? He says, very hard.
Hard?
Yeah. I'll tell you a quick story that he told me. He said, I said, I see guys get into fights, and whatnot. He goes, well, it depends on how badly damaged the guy is. I mean, if you just, because you've seen them, the drunks or whatever, they get into it and they have a little back and forth. Yeah. If one guy gets really hurt, then the other guy can be in trouble. You damage the guy. But he said what's interesting is that, for example, I could go to Palawan on vacation and I can get into some sort of trouble over there. Pick your poison. Let's just say I get into a fight with someone. Right. And the guy gets hurt. And he opens up a case in Palawan. I come back to Dumaguete. Dumaguete has no clue about that open case. He says, guys have got, because he's a lawyer, he represents these guys. Yeah. He says, there's guys that are flying in and out of the country, and they've got open cases against them. One trespass, if you will, of some sort or another. And the guy that has the case against him doesn't even know because he hasn't been served. And Palawan doesn't talk to Bahal, and Bahal doesn't talk to Dumaguete. I said, well, isn't it centralized? He said, no, it's not. They're trying to get there. He said, the one thing, and this will be a public service announcement for all of you. He said, the one thing that they take seriously over here, you will get in trouble for drugs. Oh, okay. It doesn't matter what the drug is. Yeah. If it's marijuana or if it's the shabu stuff that they use over here, those are probably the two primary ones that are floating around. The other stuff hasn't found its way here yet, thank God. But you get caught with that, you got problems. You get caught with anybody underage, you're in trouble. So my hat's off again. Yeah, my hat's off to him. That's what it should be. Right. Right. So that was my experience. That's my trip to Thailand. That's the kind of the information that I got from the lawyer. Yeah. So we're pumped up and ready to go. Maze is exciting. Church mouse. I mean, she's just shaking. Oh, bless her. She couldn't sign her passport at the passport office. She gets palsy, if you will, when she's nervous. And so. Like, for example, there's times where I've done an interview, let's say with a female, and I ask May to take a thumbnail. She goes to hold the camera and starts shaking. Why? Because she's uptight that I'm standing next to another woman. And so, like little dog's tails wiggling. You can't hide the emotion. So when she came out of the DFA with her passport, she goes, I got to sign it at home. And I said, why? She goes, I tried. And my hand shook so bad, the lady said, honey, just take it home and sign it. So now I'm picturing her going to the interview at immigration. Her head's going to explode. And you can't be there by your side. No, they separate us. So they're going to ask her stuff. You know what? It's either going to take 5 minutes or it's going to take 2 hours. It just depends on who you get. Yeah. And I've been warned, I've been educated, do not get a female immigration. Oh, really? They're really catty. They're jealous. And I thought the opposite. I thought, oh, let's get a lady talking to a lady. Yeah, right. They'd be on the same channel. Yeah. Okay. They said, no, dude, get a guy. Oh, my. And I always came up with this scenario in my head to get her through fast. Is I want the immigration officer he's off in 10 minutes. And he's had to go to the bathroom for the last 15 minutes. Okay? Yeah. So here comes May. And he's like, his kidneys are killing him. Yeah. Get this over with. Yeah. Yeah, this looks good. Stamp. And away he goes. and income is a replacement. You know?
There you go.
The last thing you want is the new immigration
Right.
officer that's been on the job 3 days and needs
Yeah.
to show his supervisor how smart he is.
Right.
And go through every little
Uh-huh.
thing, pull out his handbook. I
Human
almost
nature.
went through that. I did go through that on my way back from America. I got the young kid,
Yeah.
brand new on the job, told me all this misinformation. And then another guy came over and said, no, he's wrong.
Yeah.
You can take that luggage with you.
Yeah.
Here you go. Here's your boarding pass.
Yeah.
Enjoy your flight.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah.
that's the story.
Yeah.
And we're looking forward to vlogging from there.
I
And
know.
I'm really curious about what happens on the channel. Because a lot of guys that go to Thailand vlog from there, and they have kind of ho-hum kind of channels, right? Then they go to the Philippines, and man, they go
Isn't that
way up in
something?
views. Yeah, there just seems to be more interest in the Philippines,
Okay.
I suppose. I guess it's because of the visa and the language. That's
Oh,
a
well,
big appeal to a
yeah.
lot of guys.
Yeah.
It was for me.
Language is a big
Because
deal.
Thailand's a pain in the butt when it comes to the visa. You know, you're only allowed to stay 60 days with actually 90 if you do the extensions and everything.
Okay.
To stay for more than that, I can do it. They can do it, but it's very expensive. Requires opening up bank accounts and stuff like that.
Oh,
Her and I toyed with the idea of living there for 6 months and here
Yep.
for 6 months.
yep.
It doesn't look like that's going to happen, but we'll see. I think 2 months would be okay.
Once you
maybe-
get boots on the ground,
Once you
then,
get boots on the ground, this is going to be the exploratory trip. I think it's worth one more exploratory trip after
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Do it all over again without the pressure and the aggravation,
Right.
and then go do some different things. We're also going over there real quickly just to run by some medical stuff, because they have some
Yes.
state-of-the-art medical over there. No disrespect to the medical here. There's areas here in Cebu
Yeah.
and Mactan that I know are really state-of-the-art.
Right.
But over there, I'm familiar with it. I know, I've been to the hospitals there. They actually have a package deal where you can go in for anywhere from $150 to $500, have everything checked head to toe.
Yeah.
And so I've always got my little sinuses and all that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. I like to get that checked out. And knees, often suffered from headaches, so I'd like to have that checked out.
Oh,
And you know,
yeah.
just sort of get the old head to toe, find out what's
Right.
going on,
Yeah.
and then come back and make a full report.
Well, I've heard a lot of talk about so-called medical vacations.
Cosmetic surgery is huge
Yeah.
over there.
Yeah.
So people will go over there and they'll get a facelift estimate, say in America, and it's $30,000, and you go home the same day.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I know my friend, his wife did that before I came out. She spent 30 grand. She got a facelift, and she was an outpatient. There, they keep you in the hospital for like a week. It's about $15,000.
Yeah. I need a face replacement. Do they do that?
I need a whole body scan.
I like Sean Connery. If that they have a book that you could choose the face that you want.
Would that be cool?
Yeah. I'd be what's his name? The Oklahoma boy. Because my mom's from Oklahoma, so I'm half Okie.
Oh yeah.
So Brad Pitt. Yeah.
Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Well, you already look like him.
Well, that's what they tell me. You know, especially around the eyes.
When you take your shirt off.
Oh, that's not a pretty sight.
I think we'll end it on that.
Yeah, the conversation's going down quick.
Yeah, this is really taking a dive. All right. Thanks for watching my little
All right.
channel. See you guys next time.
Let's see y'all. Bye-bye.